Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we are talking to Distilled Tongues. Check it out. Oh, how do you like that sound? I've not heard her talk to me before.
Yeah, it was intense.
Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I am talking to Sean, Jeremy, and Mike of Distilled Tongues, as well as their fans, Chris and Zac. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So, I was like, as soon as I listened to your album, the EP, the self-titled EP, I was instantly in love with your music. I seriously couldn't stop listening. I was like, how the fuck do I actually, because I felt a little bit like this is like a super awesome band, and they're dudes I kind of know, and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy. It's cool. So, but instead of me like rattling on about how much I love the album, I kind of want to get the story behind some of your fans and figure out like, how did you become fans of Distilled Tongues? And let's start with Zac.
Yeah, for sure. So love you guys out there, and thanks Chuck for throwing this little shindig. Very nice. One thing I really wanted to talk about was, I saw one of the last shows of the previous band that most of the crew was involved with, and I just wanted to know, like, what was the vision? Like, what was the vision in kind of transitioning from like a more folky, less metally hard rock vibe to the current vibe that you guys have gone with Distilled Tongues? Because it really is a big transition for sure.
Sean, you want to take that?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, we were in a band with our buddy Matt, and he was kind of, he was the one that kind of started the band. It was his thing, because me and him were in a band before that one, which was an alternative country band. And, I was writing all the music for that one and, singing. And then we had a member in that band that kind of was, problem with alcohol, and we kind of had to kind of just move on and start something else. And I started playing bass, and Matt started writing the music in that one, and he wanted to sing, and then I sang some on that one. But it was kind of out of his element, because we ended up having another guitar player in that band before Mike, which Mike was playing guitar in the band's Mom Barley. I'm wearing the shirt right now by chance.
You're so shit.
Yeah, and he was an older fella in his 50s who ripped it, and he wanted to leave because he was already in a bunch of other bands, and which was fine. So we got Mike in there, and Mike didn't really even want to join another band, but because Mike's in Pickaxe Preacher as well right now even. And so we got Mike in, and Mike was all down for doing something that wasn't like thrash metal for once. And it was something he got to open his horizons a little bit more, because, Mike's very well rounded on guitar, and was kind of just doing the thrash thing. So we got Mike to play, and then me and Mike were both into harder music. And then we started trying to like slowly make some harder songs in the Mom Barley thing and get out of like the folk, and Matt wasn't really comfortable with it. So, it eventually came to an end there, because I think me and Mike just wanted to go into a different direction. And so that's how we started this one.
Cool. That's a great question, because I was actually wondering how the hell this formed. So that's cool.
Well, yeah, we had another drummer before Jeremy too, because that guy was on the new drummer for Mom Barley was kind of came in on the last couple months that the band was together, and we actually started writing some harder songs with him and without Matt. And he ended up getting a job at DTE, and he had to leave. So we're just like, well, shit, we're starting a new band. We had a drummer, and now we got to start all over again with a new guy. And me and Mike ended up writing 2 of the songs on the album, which was Living Like You're Dying and Drawing Shapes Without a Drummer. And we ended up putting a post out on Facebook asking if anybody was interested in playing drums for us. And Jeremy responded in like 5 minutes. He just said, I'm in. So we sent him Living Like You're Dying. And he was like, yep, I'm in. We're going to play some music.
Awesome.
So that's how we got Jeremy.
That's pretty much exactly how it happened.
Awesome.
So you guys did you know each other? I mean, obviously Sean and Mike.
Yeah. I mean,
We've always played gigs.
Yeah. Jeremy was in a lot of like bigger local acts because Jeremy plays guitar and sings in most of the bands he's been in, which he's actually got another band right now. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, Jeremy, because they put it, and Chris is in that band. Chris, that's on the chat here. They're in a band right now, and it's an extremely good band. I feel like Jeremy should talk about that.
Yeah, I just play. I mean, I've been playing with the other guys for a really long time, and no, it happened exactly how you said though. It really did. Like you just reached out, I seen it, and I used to work with Mike. And I knew Mike, and I've seen Mike play a lot, and I was like, damn, he's really good.
Yeah.
And then I gigged with Sean forever, and Sean is a fantastic front man. And I was like, as soon as I seen the post, I was like, there's no way I can't do this. Like I got some free time to play some drums. Like this is right up my alley. And as soon as they sent me that demo, I was like, wow, okay.
Cool.
It had this like little Southern rock feel, and I was just about it.
That's awesome.
That's definitely the song. But Cosmic is that's like my own, just what I write with the homies that I've had forever.
Cool.
Like
what's the name of the band?
We basically learned our instruments together. So it's like we played together for a long time.
And the name of the band is Cosmic?
Cosmic Sands.
Cosmic Sands. All right, cool.
Kind of like the font Comic Sans, but cosmic.
Awesome.
And Chris plays drums in that band.
Yeah, Chris is a phenomenal drummer.
So Chris, I'm guessing that's how you got to know these guys and got ensconced with being a fan of
Chris
Distilled Tongues.
Jeremy and I are roommates.
He's
actually. I've known Jeremy for 22 years. We're best friends.
Awesome.
And they jam every Thursday in the basement. I don't get to catch him very often, but I mean, I was hooked right away. For being a 3-piece, monster sound, like huge. Like you guys just played that show at the bar, and it was so cool. Just because, like, it's cool that I know you guys, but just to see like everybody's reaction at the bar, just obviously everyone's drinking a little bit and whatnot, but just everyone's just totally into it. And I'm like, I'm totally into it. And it's super cool that everyone around is totally into it as well. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And also Chris, when he does make it over there, he makes sure he jumps on the guitar, and the guy knows probably like 100 covers.
I run these drums, so we kind of do the swap, and then whenever practice is done, I sit on drums. We just play fucking cover songs. Just I got big balls. Got big balls. What's the fear? After we do the shit we have to do. We do what we want to scream about balls.
Oh, Lord. So, the album, I can't tell you guys, and I want to tell everybody I see, like, how much I love the music. I will, Mike, I will. There's, I think I mentioned it a couple times in a couple posts. Like, there's a few albums that really hit me like your album did, as far as just like, I just want to listen to this all the fucking time. I love the heavy grooves. I love the imaginative riffs that you guys throw in there. I love, Jeremy, I know that a lot of drummers do the side stick thing, but the way that felt in a couple of those tunes, it was just perfect, just like perfect synchronization and syncopation. And so,
thank you.
So I love the music, but I do have a question, and it's about the song "A Witness," and I'm curious, like, what if you can tell me the origin story behind that, like lyrically and musically, who came up with the ideas, how did that come together, and maybe get into a little bit of what your writing process is like. You know, like how do you guys work together?
Well, I think with that one, we kind of like caught like after a couple songs, talking to Sean and Jeremy, I'm like, man, I feel like we had a couple where we're kind of working around an A minor area. So it's like, I just kind of set off with that opening lick at home, like just playing acoustic. Like I want to push into a different key. So that's like an uncomfortable position on the neck to force different things out of like push myself out of patterns. And I just came up with that, like the opening lick, and sent it to Sean and Jeremy. And then like Sean immediately came in with the slam and bass line, and Jeremy like followed up with the drums. And I feel like every tune, somebody will come up with one or two things. And then we sit down and we write the whole, I mean, we really write it all together and hear each other out.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody like holds grudges or like, this is my part, that, you know, I feel like we really talk it out. And then Sean came up with the lyrics, but Sean, you got to take over, tell him the story. Like the theme he set is really, really cool.
Yeah. It's not like a true story or anything, obviously.
Yeah, you're alive.
But yeah, I was kind of like trying to jump into the shoes of like someone who's in a house that they just heard like screams, and you know, obviously they heard somebody was getting killed in the first floor of their house. So they start prepping themselves and like hide under the bed. And it just kind of like, I was just trying to paint the scene from their perspective, and like scenery and, you know, through their senses, and kind of just describe like, and make it a scary moment that, you know, what it would be like if you knew there was somebody about to come after you and kill you.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the premise of that one.
Yeah.
Like, and didn't you say too, it's that he heard his family getting murdered downstairs, and then that person's hiding under the bed, right?
Yeah. And that, you know, it just explains them like creeping up the stairs, and, you know, how the room looks with the street light shining into the room on the, you know, the guy approaching the bed, and you can only see his feet, and the guy pulling up the sheets, and the knife in his hand. Yeah.
It's a great tune, and the music actually captures a lot of that tension of that moment, which I think is fantastic. And it kind of reminded me, it had me thinking about, like, I don't know if you guys have watched on I think it's HBO or something. There was a mini series about the Golden State Killer, and it reminded me of something. There's like, you know, actual people that were talking about that survived out of the, you know, 50 plus people that he raped or murdered. But it had me thinking of some of those instances. I was curious if that played into that at all, if it was just pure imagination where you're just like,
I didn't base it off any like thing that I've seen, but I will say that I watch all the murder documentaries. I'm a huge fan, and it's like one of the few things me and my wife can agree on when it comes to Netflix is murder documentaries.
Awesome.
Where's the middle ground? Stone cold murder. That's where they.
Hey, Mike, I think you're getting that.
Good place to settle down.
You're getting that Wyandotte reception over there, bud.
Oh yeah, I forgot he does this. I'm like, probably. Where do you live at? A couple blocks away. I think what I'm doing is screwing him up.
Go fix his cell towers, man.
You can't hear me?
Well,
breaking up.
Every once in a while you'd clip out just a little bit, but it's not.
Hey,
too
I got
bad.
it on the Wi-Fi too. What the fuck, Chris? Fix my
Bro,
stuff.
I'm one man.
Yeah.
I'm one man.
Yeah, but you're a great man, and I want you to fix my stuff.
Go grab that aerial lift truck, man.
So Fans with Bands is, you know, not just about me talking and asking questions. It's about letting the fans ask some questions. So Zac or Chris, do you guys got any questions you want to ask the Distilled Tongues?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, Zach, you go first.
Okay, I'll jump in. All right. So typically when we see a new band coming into the mix, usually those songs start to flow in slowly, right? You get one or two, or you might get a demo or something like that. What inspired you guys to like really drop the bomb and like give us a big hunk of meat to chew on, rather than a couple nibbles straight away?
Jeremy, you want to?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I personally always like a nice chunk of songs to come out. Like I like a whole idea. I feel like when you're kind of rapid fire writing your first stuff, it really kind of encapsulates like a period of time. Right. So it's like I like to do chunks of songs because I feel like it tells more of a story and it catches more of a feeling. So it's like they had all these songs, and I'm pretty sure we had that conversation in the beginning about whether we were going to just release singles or whether we were going to release albums. And it's always albums for me. Singles are cool, but like you can't dig into a single the way that you can an album. Like you can listen to it a million times, but it's still one song, you know?
I feel like too, like we were all talking about like between singles and albums. And I think we really stuck with EPs because I think the amount, we can get into that creative zone, get 5 to 7 songs out, and then get it out there and just continually have content and stay to where like when we're mixing half of it, or when we're in the mixing half with one EP, we're writing a new one, and we can keep like a continuous flow of to where we're always producing content in some way, not because we just want to get content out, because I think we just enjoy it, and we can just keep the writing going because I feel like we're just
when it flows out.
When we've got most of a new album written already that we're talking about breaking ground on. I mean, in a few months, I would think, Cool.
Yeah, we got like 4 songs aside from the album. We're playing around with like ideas of like, do we write 2 more, or do we record these 4 and maybe like try and get a full length album out with the songs that are on the EP, and it's just like a vinyl release type deal. Mm-hmm. We don't want to put a vinyl out and not fill the thing all the way up, Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot of money to get all that stuff pressed, and we're not trying to throw our own money into it.
Exactly.
We want all your money, fans.
There you go.
That's the way it should be.
So we can just reinvest it back and give you more.
Go ahead, Zach.
Go ahead. And a quick follow-up. Where'd you guys record?
I actually recorded the record. We recorded it in Mike's basement. All the drum tones and everything were real. Everything sounded really good down there for some reason. Wow. And we basically like live track drums and bass together.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
Because it sounds amazing. I mean, Sean, the whole thing sounds really awesome. But I really love Sean's and Jeremy, your tone. I love that bass tone. I like that the bass. I mean, it's a 3-piece, so of course you're gonna hear the bass. But you've got a really good punchy, tight sound, and then
that's just Sean's.
That just sounds so awesome, and it goes great with the drums. So then you've got you're kind of layering on top of that huge foundation with Mike's guitar, and so perfect. But
I was gonna say, here's just for reference. I mean, this is where we recorded the album.
Awesome.
So, I mean, like a small little area, and we just made the most with out of what we have, and got the results all out of these interfaces and Jeremy's interfaces. And I mean, I'm stoked with what Jeremy did with the album, man. I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
Jeremy's Jeremy's mic collection's only been building since then too. So it's been
microphones, man.
Awesome.
Really though, it was that's all it was. It's just putting microphones on the cabs. Like they had the tones. Like Mike basically like played a little bit for me, and we like set up some guitar mics in that room down there, and we found some sweet spots. And once we found something we liked, he like knocked all those out in like a weekend and like sent them to us, and we were just like, oh my god, dude, that tone is so good. Like, I mean, I didn't really have to do a whole bunch.
Wow.
Like the whole sauce was there. We were we were making spaghetti.
I think too, you know, that like I recorded the last Pickaxe Preacher album and did all the mixing and everything. And Jeremy and I both have a history in recording. I think he's got a bit more experience than me, but you know, we would talk and listen to each other's recordings, be like, hey man, I like the way you do this.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you like the way I do. And so we just sit there and both collaborate on, you know, from, I mean, drums was really his thing, but from bass to vocals and like guitars. And I got a way that I kind of like to do my guitars. And we even started talking about influences, man, on guitar solos. And for me, like there's a solo on a John Mayer has, I can't remember which song, but the guitar solo comes in and the tone sounds like you're sitting in an empty room with nothing but this vintage, you know, blues box guitar, and you can hear the room. And him and I talked about, we got to figure out how to get that on the solo on the last song on the album, Pray on My Soul, and really take the time to, like, I want it to feel like the guitar is filling up an entire goddamn room.
Yeah.
And you can feel the amp, you can feel the room. And and really, I mean, with a lot of these tones, we changed them, and Jeremy changed them for the song, you know, like not just the how we set up the amplifier and the playing, but even like the miking positions and what mics we utilized for which parts and
which songs too. Yeah.
And we took our time to get the best sound out of that. Cause I mean, we finished recording it last March, maybe, Jeremy, like cracking.
Yeah. It took a long time, but it was like a lot of talking things out. Like he said, like, just like, hey, are you happy with this? It's not just like, because it's all of us putting out this record. Like, what are you going for? Does this convey what you want it to? Does it feel how you want it to feel? Well, you know, and he did a amazing job on that Pickaxe Preacher record. Like when I found out that Mike did that in GarageBand, I was like, you're kidding.
No shit. That was done in GarageBand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I love that fucking album. It sounds fucking awesome. And I was like,
thank you.
Well, I figured you guys went to like a real studio with the real, well, not that you guys aren't real fucking musicians and engineers, but you know.
No, we're not, Chuck. We just fake. We're not.
We just play one on TV.
Someone will be like, hey, what note are you playing? I'm like, it's like, it sounds like a did, but it kind of goes winny wah, you know.
I just go, it's like the 6th fret, 2nd string. I don't know.
And I'm like, Jeremy, I don't know what fret means.
Oh man.
Well, you do damn good, boy.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's really cool to understand how you guys put that together. And I think the time spent pays off, because I think the final product really is phenomenal. Really, really great.
Thank you.
It was great fun fucking make.
Chris, did you have a question?
No, not necessarily. I know Jeremy very well. I knew Sean and, like, you know, Carter and Metz and Orfeo and Mike. I actually didn't know Mike. But I not really a question, but I think it's like really cool to see like the progress of like them, you know, when you start playing music, the one thing like you really think about is, how am I going to get signed? How am I going to get huge? You know, like what's going to get me, you know, money, blah, 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 blah. So then you get to a point where, you know, you're, you know, like 30 years old, like us, who just don't give a crap, you know, who does, you know, you guys don't care. So it's just like, you literally write what you want to write, and it doesn't matter what happens to it. You guys you obviously enjoy what you guys have and are doing, and you can definitely hear it. You guys aren't trying to be anything. You're just literally just blah, you know, in a sense. Like, you know, you, Sean and Mike, you know, you guys were like, hey, let's just go for this, you know, type of sound in a way. But, you know, just like what you guys write is very natural. And it sounds freaking awesome. If I ever do have questions, I just ask Jeremy. I guess I guess I do have a question. Like, as you know, you guys want to release stuff. So what's the goal with the band? Just to keep continuing writing and jamming?
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to get the name out enough to, you know, play bigger shows with, you know, bands that people want to see. open for national acts, and that's all something I think we want to do. I know we all want to get vinyl out into the universe, since it's made its huge comeback and we're all collectors of it. I don't know, man. I think the goal is just, having as many people hear it as possible. We all have good jobs, so it's not like, we got to make money off of this. It's just, I think just the main goal is to, have fun and have as many people hear it and appreciate it as possible. I mean, it's that simple.
Nice.
Right.
Excellent.
Just trying to write better songs all the time.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's
yeah.
it.
I really think that, I think that's a lot of it is just writing stuff that we like. And Chris, you nailed it on the head with, you're a musician, you get to a point to where you stop worrying about trying to create something with thoughts of something else in mind, and if you're doing it in your 30s, the only thing that matters is that it's something that you care about and love, and you want to create almost like the sound that you want to hear in your head. You're like, man, I love this band and that band.
Mm-hmm.
How can we create that sound that I would like to hear?
Just smash them together.
And effectively do it and do it, with a situation where you're surrounded by people you can rely on and that you get along with. And I think that's the end game. And like playing good shows, I don't think we plan on anything, as far as that's regarded past just putting out the music. But I think this is the 6th album I've put out, and I spent like the first 3 thinking that, like, man, when this comes out, it's going to change my life. And you kind of get knocked down in the dirt a little bit. And by the time you come out of it, you realize that I'm just going to do what I want. I don't care what people think. I would love if people do like it, but in the end, it's like, we're doing this for us.
Yeah. I think that comes through a lot with and everybody on here has been in bands and made their music, and it's really about that, is being true to yourself and true to what you want to do. And if if that truth resonates through and people dig the vibe that's coming off the music, then it's gonna go out into the universe and spread, right? So very cool.
I will say that I've played many different genres of music, with bands. I'm kind of all over the place in what I've been in, but I will say, like, with this whole, the cool thing about like the stoner rock genre is, it seems just like everybody in this scene is a lot cooler, less cliquey, more welcoming, like open to like just wanting to support bands, just because it makes them feel good and they're passionate about it. And I feel like in a lot of the other, genre scenes, man, it just, everything is super cliquey, and it's like, and if you're not in that clique, no one wants to help you out. And I feel like with this, man, when we put this album out, like, we released it on Spotify and like YouTube and all that stuff first, and it was like, people weren't really, it was like getting a little bit of pickup, but then I ended up posting it on Bandcamp of all places. And it's just like this one guy from like Rock Freaks YouTube channel, he's got like 25,000 followers or whatever. I was like, hey, send me a download code and I'll play you on my channel. So he ended up playing on this channel, and then through that channel, 666 Mr. Doom on there was like, hey, send me a download code. I want to put this on my channel. He's got like 180,000 followers. So we got on there, and then Weedian was like, hey, we want to put you on our Facebook and YouTube page. I was like, yes. We literally have not had to seek anything out yet. It's it's getting to a point now to where like we got to start figuring out how to put a little more content and kind of stay in the mix of things. So we got a couple ideas brewing that we're probably going to start doing maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Me and Mike talked. We haven't talked to Jeremy yet about it, but since we got all the recording equipment, maybe doing like our own like professional audio with video to put out on, because we haven't launched a YouTube page yet. So we were probably thinking of doing like a good video audio of us playing some live stuff in the basement to kind of put some content out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I think that kind of speaks to, you know, what I was saying. If you've got something, you know, that people will resonate with and you throw it out into the universe, someone's going to latch onto it, you know, if they like it. And clearly, and, you know, and you're right with, I think a lot with, stoner rock, and I hate to use that term because it just feels like it's,
I know.
it's just,
I
you
know.
know,
Me too.
yeah.
It's just heavy. It's heavy rock.
Heavy
you know?
rock, yeah. But it's like a cool groove. It has like a 70s roots. You know, I guess we all understand what the definition is. But anyway, yes, there is a huge amount of, I think, camaraderie, a lot of support from other bands, particularly in this area. I mean, you know, Fuzz Fest is an excellent example of that. I mean, sadly, we're not having that right now. But that's a great little festival that does, you know, just love of fuzz rock, and that goes from, you know, really super experimental crap to stuff like you or Bonehawk or, you know, any of those cool bands. So definitely a family of sharing people there. So
Sean, can we tell him
Tell him what?
about Bonehawk?
Oh yeah, he knows, but
Oh, he already knows.
I mean,
yeah,
I
know.
guess I guess the hope is this gonna get put on Spotify soon enough for people to hear about it.
It will be. It'll just make it under the wire because I think my plan. So everybody that listens to Fans with Bands, which is, you know, all 20 of you, it's usually about, well, right now about a month after. But so this will be out in July, and you guys are going to be playing with Bonehawk at the new Dodge, right? On July 30th. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, July 30th, Bonehawk, Ladyship Worship, and Electric Huldra.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've seen Electric Huldra a couple times at Fuzz Fest. Fantastic band, super cool dudes. Another 3-piece, doing the octave bass thing going on there. And Ladyship Worship, Kristen and Easy, they're super awesome. You guys probably are familiar with War Horses as well, and they've been on the show.
That's actually how we got Ladyship Worship on, as I contacted War Horses to play the show. and then Kristen was like, it's way harder to book War Horses than Ladyship Worship just because of, you know, there's more members in the band and it's harder to line things up.
Right.
So they're like, we're married, so we'll play. We're together all the time anyway. I was like, sweet, let's do it.
Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. That's so
And-
cool.
And you know, and like real quick too, I think that as much as we fit into the stoner rock category, you know, like we put it out and they shared us a lot. And speaking again to how positive that community is, I'm like, I feel like we hit enough of the check marks that like we work with that. I don't know if it's entirely in that, but they have like what the psych element, doom metal, and the stoner rock kind of thing. And I think it's like the 70s vibes. I feel like it's all like the raw and like, you know, like more pure rock music that genre seems to follow. So it's the different styles of bands we see that get shared through Weedian and Mr. Doom. It's like we fall into it, but it seems to be kind of like a loose term.
Yeah.
With what follows it, because, you know, I listen to it at first, I'm thinking, I don't think we're, you know, stoner rock so much. It's kind of, you know, more rock and 70s, like I think someone said proto metal. I didn't know what that was till I looked into it, and like you showed us Captain Beyond. I'm like, yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going for.
Right.
But it's just people who listen to too much Black Sabbath, because that's what we set out for. Like Sean and I are like, what do we want to do? I'm like, well, we really like Black Sabbath,
Right.
and we really like Led Zeppelin, you know, and Pink Floyd. And it's like, how can we kind of modernize some of those things? And it turns out we're not the first or thousandth or millionth person or band to try to do that. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's hard to be. So I think of this a lot. It's really hard to be original because, you know, we're not in 1970 or 69 when Black Sabbath was putting out, you know, Black Sabbath. And you can't help but be influenced by the music that came before. I think when bands like you and other local bands that do this, like Bonehawk or, geez, I'm blanking out on some of the bands, but they are taking their own spin. You guys are taking your spin on what these riffs and things are like, putting your own personal genetic code into all of that, which is going to be, everyone's like resonant frequency is going to be just a little bit different than so Mike's not quite Tony Iommi, but he's got his own little thing, Geezer and Sean have a little thing going on. Bill and Jeremy, there's synchronicity, but there's not. And I think that all plays into creating a really cool sound. And, some people just sound like they're ripping off Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, and, people love it, and that's cool. But I think it's when people take the time to put their own life into that music that you get like a different take on it. So anyway, that's my philosophy of 101 on music. So there you go.
I agree with that completely. I think
Just don't be Greta Van Fleet.
Well, I didn't want to name names, but
We knew who you were talking about, Chuck.
more power to those kids.
Hey, they're still good.
they still
man.
sound
Yeah,
great.
they sound great.
I'm not gonna hate.
Sound great. And Kingdom Come sounded awesome too. But it's whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They know what they do.
They do. And it's cool.
You just try to be authentic. That's it. Everything that you will ever do has already been done. You just have to do it authentically.
Yes.
Black Sabbath already wrote all the cool riffs.
Yeah.
And it's all over.
That's true. Well, one thing I like to do that's participatory across the board is to find out what was the first album you bought with your own money. And let's start with Jeremy.
Oh man, first album I ever bought with my own money.
And that money could have been gifted to you. So it could be a birthday gift, but somebody gave you some cash and you went out to the store and bought it.
This is really stereotypical, but Pearl Jam 10.
All right. That's a great album.
That's way less embarrassing than what I'm going to tell you. Keep going, Jeremy. What else?
That's all I remember is my dad gave me a bunch of CDs when I was a kid that he was basically burnt out on, and it was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah.
Then with birthday money, I got Pearl Jam and Nirvana Unplugged.
Oh, nice. Those are good albums. Solid. I still love 10.
There's so many good songs on the record.
Yeah.
I have no idea what he says half of the record.
Well,
but I love it.
Nobody.
Especially Yellow Lead Better, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know one thing that he's talking about, that whole song.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Mike, how about you?
So I had albums that were gifted and CDs that time and tapes and stuff, but I think the first one was a band I was obsessed with, and I know Jeremy was too, and 8th grade, 9th grade kind of era, and I got a paper out because I knew Thrice had an album coming out, The Illusion of Safety, and the day it came out was the last day of school. So I got out of school and I rode my bike 5 miles to Slick Disc with my Walkman CD player and rode that 5-mile ride home, just listening to Illusion of Safety, and just sat there playing my guitar till I could play that whole album and then the next Thrice album. And it kind of took me out of, the earlier middle school stuff was kind of the pop punk and really getting into guitar. And it started with Ozzy and pop punk, which is really weird. But I think Thrice was the first band that I got into that really was getting into more screaming vocals at the time. There was catchiness, a lot of and creative guitar playing that was kind of out of the box thinking. And just the originality of it, I really, really dug. And so, I rode my bike, got that. I do it until I wore through the CD and, had to buy it again. And that was the first one for me.
Awesome. Sean.
Oh man.
Come on, out with it. Bring it out.
All right. It's embarrassing. But this was way before 9th grade, okay? I was probably in like 5th grade, and I probably used my birthday money. But the first CDs, I bought 2. And it was when I first got one of them portable CD players that, would skip every time you move your leg when you're riding your bike. Was Americana, Offspring, and the embarrassing one, because I was a huge fan in probably like middle school, was Creed, My Own Prison.
Yes. Yes.
My dad bumped that record so hard. I'm not going to pretend like I don't know those songs.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
So Sean, I can probably one up you on that one. I actually went to see Creed.
I seen him when I was 14. With
that Pontiac?
It was with Our Lady Peace and a band called
Tea Party?
Oleander.
Oh, Oleander. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was 14 years old, and that was my first concert.
Very nice.
And then my second concert was Alkaline Trio. Yeah, that was Well, yeah, it was also one of my. I started playing shows out when I was 14. I started a band when I was 6 months into playing guitar, and our first show was at the. It was the high school band fest in the gymnasium, like after hours of school, and we ended up covering radio at that one. I had to keep it simple, man. I was only 6 months into playing guitar, so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Zac, how about you? What was your first album?
So my first album was Bon Jovi, "Slippery When Wet." Right.
Nice.
So my big 3 were Bon Jovi, "Slippery When Wet," White Snake, because everybody loved Tawny Kitaen, and 1984. Right. Like those were those were my big 3 that my parents didn't understand why I liked them. Those for sure were my jams. And since we're on it, my first concert was Danzig, White Zombie, and Marilyn Manson at Harpo's.
What the
I had
hell?
a fake ID.
That's amazing.
I had a fake
pretty
ID
cool.
that said I was 18 so I could get in there. And
Holy
literally
shit.
the first thing when you walk in there, Manson breaks a bottle on the monitor and starts raking it across his chest, blood pouring down. I'm like, my goodness, I think I'm in the right spot.
I seen Danzig's last show here, and I don't know if I recommend going to see Danzig anymore, man.
Oh.
Yeah, not aged
Probably
so well.
get Danzig.
Yeah, so, some bands age well and some don't. But
Yeah, that's one of them that don't age well.
Chris, how about you, man?
Eiffel 65 Europop.
Whoa! Wow!
Yep. I was 10, 11. It was birthday money for sure. And I went to Kmart, and that was the first CD I bought. So you had the, Blue Davide song, and Jeremy jammed that album too.
I do know that album.
Dude, kick ass. I'm telling you, at the time, even now, like, I know all the lyrics. I'm terrible with lyrics. I know all the lyrics, but as far as like rock band, I think it was a Limp Bizkit album. It was probably $3 Bill or was it Significant
Oh
Other,
man,
the second album?
$3 bill, y'all, is classic.
So significant
One of
other.
those two. Yeah, but yeah. So that was it. Speaking of first concert, my first concert was CCR.
Nice.
Wow!
Yeah.
Where at?
Yep.
Where was that at?
It was at the Palace.
Really? Holy shit! Wow! John
Yep.
Fogerty. Holy crap!
Great.
There's no way Fogerty was there, was he? Was Fogerty there?
And what's funny
Not
is
a-
I
He didn't
know
answer.
any
Not a
CCR
chance.
songs at the time. So like when I went to that concert, so Jeremy and I were huge into skateboarding. So a lot of the skateboard videos we watch, some of these skaters use CCR songs. So like when I went and saw them live, they'd be playing a beginning of a song. Like, oh my God, that's on, whatever skateboard video. And my dad's like, what? And whatever.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know. Yeah.
So we need to circle back to Jeremy and Mike. So Jeremy, what was your first concert?
Bob Seger at the Silverdome.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wow.
that's a
That's
good one.
awesome.
That's a good
Wow.
one.
Wow. That's
Blew my mind. I also
Yeah.
think that's like the first time I've seen both my parents hammered.
So did you drive or what?
Yeah. No, I couldn't reach the pedals yet.
Bro, you were driving at 4. Don't even play.
He said, I got it.
Oh my God. Mike, how about you? What was the first concert?
In 8th grade, a guy who, like a neighbor that I happened to meet on the first day I bought an electric guitar, which is like one of the most important relationships I've ever had in my life. But 8th grade, he got me into Ozzy and was steering out of like, don't listen to this stuff that you like. Here's the stuff that you need to understand. And then Ozzy came out with the Osmosis album and announced the Merry Mayhem tour. So my neighbor took me, I think I was in 7th grade, and it was Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Zombie, Mudvayne, and Soil.
Wow.
And Mudvayne had just put out LD50, and the lead singer came out wearing a deer costume, but it was like roadkill. So there was gut hanging out of it, and it was red paint all over his face, like blood all over the place. And the player just like shaved his head and just painted it silver and blue, had the contacts as the bass. And I remember I'm like, I want to hang out with these weird freaks in my life. The shit that yeah. I mean, Ozzy's been my great guitar players. Zac is my least favorite, but he's still a goddamn maniac. And being a kid who's playing guitar, watching him play up front,
Yeah.
it was for an hour and a half and hearing the classics and
Yeah. Well,
great show.
and I think back then Zac wasn't quite as the harmonic squealer as he is now. So
And he's still bad. He's still pretty bad, Chuck. Like he was playing Great Train instead of like do do do. It was doing wow wow wow, and I'm like, come on, just play the fucking main part of the song normal. I know you know how to do it. That you got to put effort into to do that.
all right. Well, since you all are actual musicians that play in bands, I'm curious, like, what was an inspirational person or, and this can be, not famous or famous, but somebody that got you into wanting to play music and develop your skills in that genre. So let's start with Mike. Was there a musician or a person that really got you influenced and made you want to become a guitar player? And
well, like is a that kind of, and I think you check marks. You have like regime.
hey, Mike,
Mike, no one can hear you, man.
yeah, you're cutting out a little bit,
You
buddy.
didn't want to tell anybody you're getting
Cut now.
Yep.
Bad.
Whoa.
Let's
We
go.
cut off my-
Let's go with somebody else for a minute.
Wait. Try me now.
You got your video off. Try it now, man. Go for it.
My video.
Sir, we're gonna have to
You're
reconnect
good,
the
bud. That'll
Wi-Fi.
help.
Okay. Well, no, I think that they're like being a musician is a journey that
Oh.
and throughout that process.
Oh, now you've really gone off.
What? Like, on?
Yeah.
Time to
now
reinstall Windows.
You've gone. Yeah. You've gone. you went south there, buddy.
What about now?
All right, you sound good. Turn the video off though, and then that way I think it'll be better.
Okay.
There you
All
go.
right. So here
There you go.
No, so I think that like being a musician is a journey that you take from the moment you start till the end of your life that really never ends. And throughout those years, you go through regime changes of guitar players or scenes and music and influences that continue to cause you to grow. So it's like it's hard to pick a musician or something like that. But I will say, like I kind of alluded to earlier, my neighbor, that the first day I bought an electric guitar with paper out money, plugged in a guitar. This guy walks down the road, walks up, says like, "Oh, we got a rocker here, lives 5 doors down from me." And I spent from being 10 years old to 18, every day after school, I'd go to his house. He just would trade up guitars and show me, thousands of guitars I played, musicians.
Yeah.
What?
It's all taken care of.
Oh, thank you very much.
All righty. Got him?
Yep.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you.
Hope you got me some cheese
You're
bread.
selfish, Sean.
Sorry,
But-
my wife my wife surprisingly ordered pizza. I didn't know it was coming. I had to get it, I guess.
Awesome.
He's got a
But-
DoorDash to do. He's out of here.
All right, good.
But
Sorry.
anyway, so this guy Chuck DiCarlo, who I still talk to, on a semi-regular basis, but he kind of showed me the ropes, taught me how to read guitar tablature, taught me like where the good music was, the era of guitar players, and kind of like the basics until it kind of hit the point where the student became the master and it flipped. And now we communicate in a different way where he's asking me stuff about tone and things. But I think the most impactful relationship as a musician was meeting him. If I never would have done it, I probably would have bought a guitar. It would have sat in my room until it collected dust and my dad sold it, out from under my. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Well, yeah, Chuck sounds like an awesome guy. He's got a cool name too. So boom.
you'd like him.
Sean, how about you?
It wasn't anybody like musician wise that got me into wanting to play guitar particularly, but the story how I came to play guitar was I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me, and him and my cousin's mom had just started dating this guy who was a guitar player and gave lessons. So those two started going and getting guitar lessons with that guy. So my dad went and bought my brother an acoustic guitar, and my brother probably went to the lessons for like a month and was just done with it. So probably like 5 years down the road, I was like, "Hey, you took guitar lessons before." I was like, "Do you still have a guitar?" He's like, "Yeah, it's buried in my closet." I was like, "Can I see it?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead and find it if you want." And I was like, "Do you remember anything that was taught to you?" He's like, "I remember Kumbaya." So he taught me Kumbaya on the guitar. And so I just started like switching between the Kumbaya chords, which I don't know if I could still play that.
I could tear up a campfire.
I don't remember the 3 or 4 chords involved in Kumbaya, but I took those 4 chords after I got good switching between them, and I wrote my first song with the chords from Kumbaya, and then I was addicted, man.
Awesome.
and then later on I had a bunch of buddies who played and were better than me, and that kind of inspired me to get better.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been lucky and had been surrounded by friends that can inspire me to get better, and
Cool.
So I guess it's more so just by my musician friend that I had been inspired by.
Awesome, man. Jeremy, how about you?
I mean, I got a lot of people that I feel like inspire me now, but if I was to pick like a person that like started it out, I would say it was this kid that I went to high school with, Zach Zolkowski. We were in our first band together too. We actually wrote the whole first Living Like Ghosts record together, and he was such a good technical guitar player that every time I played with him, I got better. Like I had to learn to get to his level to be able to like play the same songs as him. So it's like when we were younger, you know, we would basically go to school, and as soon as we'd get home, we'd like sit and just practice guitar like all day. Like, and he made me a tighter player, made me more aware of like certain things that I had never paid attention to. Like, oh, like I see that you're muting that with this, or like you're muting these strings with this finger while you're playing these ones. Okay. Like, and just like so articulate with his picking that I just had to like step my game up. Like I was like, damn, I need to get better.
Awesome, man. That's cool. Zac, how about you, man? What got you playing music?
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of guys I went to high school with, they were big into bands, big into music. I didn't have the skills to play an instrument, so I spent a lot of, you know, my interest is in writing and you know, coming up with song flow and things like that. So, you know, really the three main guys I would say that really helped me to tap into the energy were the guys from Hate Ball. So it's a local band from downriver. You got Craig Rubel and Ryan Gursky and George Somenauer, great dudes who really brought the you know, that stoner rock energy. And you know, just and you know, as a more popular music view, like I love Clutch. I love the storytelling. You know, the you know, let's sit down by the fire and spin a yarn to some power chords. You know, that kind of vibe, right? Like that's really the energy that I love and love being a part of. And that's one of the things I love about Distilled Tongues, right? They, you know, we need more of that. We need more of that rock energy, right? We need more of that fire, you know. You know, I love the rockabilly and all of that vibe, but you know, I'm a rock guy at heart. I'm a high energy guy at heart, and I love the sound of the Distilled Tongues and the work that they're bringing for sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zac.
Chris.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, I'm driving in my car. I probably shouldn't be doing this while driving, but that's okay.
Just keep your eyes on the road and answer the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought the question was like a professional musician. So
it can be either.
If you want to talk about like it could be either. Okay, I'll give you two. So I'm going to say Jeremy, because Jeremy and I, we met at a time where Jeremy is a couple years older than me, so he was actually friends with my brother first, and I think the reason why they hung out was they were the same age and they liked, I don't know, Limp Bizkit and, you know, like Linkin Park and all those other bands. But Jeremy was more exploring like underground bands, you know. So like I became friends with Jeremy at the time where he was buying CDs and, you know, he was playing guitar and I was starting to play guitar. So him and I, like, Jeremy got me into listening the whole record. I used to listen to the radio nonstop, and he was like, "Why don't you go buy a record? Why don't we, you know, listen to this album?" I'm like, "Who?" You know. So I would say without Jeremy, like in my life, I wouldn't even probably be where I'm at today because I play 6 instruments. So I went to school playing saxophone. My dad was a drummer, but I never got to see him play. But, you know, as far as musicianship goes, Jeremy 100%.
Awesome.
Without him, I wouldn't have gotten this far or gotten really into music like I am today. As far as a professional musician, Travis Barker 100%.
All right.
I was really into Blink-182, and Blink was, you know, Travis was like the first drummer that was in that type of spotlight where he was so popular to where like my parents knew who the hell he was. And his drumming for being in that band is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you know, another 3-piece band, and he was I remember my dad buying me like this 5-piece drum set. You know, my dad grew up in a time where drums, you know, it was a 10-piece set with 10 cymbals. And when I told him that I wanted to go down to a 4-piece and, you know, one high tom, he's like, "Why the fuck are you doing that?" you know. So I would show him Travis, you know, I'd show him Travis Barker, and he thought he was trash. But I'm like, okay, but yeah, those are my two for sure. So.
Awesome, that's great, man. That's fantastic.
And can you still hear me? Am I visible again? Or?
Yeah, we can
You're
hear
good,
you,
bud.
and you're visible, buddy.
Well, and just like an honorable mention thing, you know, I know I mentioned Chuck earlier, but like here in Wyandotte growing up and, you know, getting into like more of the shredders and stuff. And I went to a coffee shop in Wyandotte that I'd make my dad drive me to in 9th grade and 8th grade to see bands. And we showed up one time to see Capture the Flag, and Jeff Tuttle was the guitar player at the time. And I think that was probably the first local musician I saw in like with my own eyes. That was like, holy hell, like, what is this guy doing? He's like hitting his headstock off his head. He's like jumping people. And I'm like, he's doing it on purpose. He's going to get hurt, you know, like I'm a kid. And that was like, kind of like where it struck a chord where I'm like, this is real, man. Like, this is the guy who, you know, I saw him. And then like a week later at my parents' house as a kid, he delivered a pizza because he worked for Hungry Howie's, you know, and then it's like 3 years later, he ended up joining Dillinger Escape Plan and was the guitar player for them for 8 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I feel like following his timeline and seeing him there and being like, this is real. And then finding out like, dude, the pizza guy is in Dillinger. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be the guitar player in fucking Black Sabbath, you know, like, but by the time I hit 11th grade, it's easy, you know? And,
yeah,
but it's like, just like the realness factor set in watching Tuttle play. And I still to this day, I got like this kind of like pseudo like thing where I just try to like see him and talk. I'm like, this guy has no idea who I am. He doesn't, you know, but
Mike, crazy thing to add on to that. Since you talked about Capture the Flag, I don't know if you remember me talking about Alkaline Trio being my second show I've ever seen. They actually opened that show.
Of course they did. Fucking Jeff. It's the circle of Jeff, man.
Yeah, that guy. He I don't think he knows who I am either, but I'm a big fan. Yeah, because wasn't he in Old Gods?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Heads Will Roll.
Oh my God!
Yep.
I saw Old Gods at what was that cider place? They were playing with Child Bite. Oh crap, Cellarman's. You guys ever been to Cellarman's? Well, they're closed now, but yeah. And holy crap, he had blood all over his face, and just wow, yeah. And he's in Shock Narcotic, right? With Sean Knight from Child Bite. So
yes,
boom. We've done 6 degrees of Tuttle.
and we're totally not done talking about that guy. I'm going to bring it back up.
Well, guys, it's been awesome talking with you. I so appreciate you being on the show. I've got just one last question. You've probably heard it if you listen to the show. It's super controversial. Here it is. Pineapple or no pineapple on pizza? Jeremy.
Pineapple all day.
Oh, wow. All right. Mike, how about you?
Not only am I into the pineapple, but I made my own pineapple hot sauce specifically for pizza. So if someone orders a pizza that doesn't have pineapple, I can put my pineapple hot sauce on.
No shit.
Dude, he kills the hot sauce game, man.
Holy crap. That's definitely up the ante, because people are like either really into and really out, but now you've taken to a new
Distilled
level.
Tongues is the perfect name for a hot sauce, for crying out loud.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. So Sean, how about you?
I probably have some on my pizza that arrived during this interview right now.
Oh man, awesome. Zach.
Absolutely not. I want salt on my pizza, not sweet.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Chris.
100% pineapple, baby.
Wow.
Let's go.
Oh my God, pineapple. So here's a question for the pineapple lovers. Do you put jalapeno with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I literally have a pineapple jalapeno pizza in my fridge right now.
Holy shit. Wow.
Literally.
That's fantastic. Well,
So and if it says anything about Distilled Tongues, because all of us voted yes, not only are we tropical, but we're also a little fruity too.
fantastic. Well, guys, thanks again for being on here. Thanks for your music. Can't wait to see you live at the New Dodge. And, we should just get together and drink beer sometime. So.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you need someone to open,
Hey,
call the
Chuck.
Dotted Eyes, baby. We're ready.
There you go.
We'll play with some stoner rock bands for once in our lives.
Awesome.
You got it, bud.
There you go. Well, hey Chuck, all I'm saying is, man, it's only 8:14 and I'm off tomorrow, so I got a bunch of dank IPAs and
Damn it, dude. I got to work in the morning.
me too, man.
All right.
Hey, I could have came over after work.
There you go. All right. All right, guys. Great to see you. And thanks
Best of
again.
luck, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Chuck.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks to Sean, Jeremy, Mike, Zac, and Chris for joining me in this episode of Fans with Bands. Get over to the Distilled Tongues Bandcamp page and buy their music. You will be so glad you did. And catch them live on Friday, July 30th at the New Dodge in Hamtramck with Bonehawk. See the show notes for links. These are tough times for everyone in the creative industries such as music. Your support of live streaming, purchasing music, and merchandise is critical. If you can help out your local artists, please do. If you are in the Michigan area, consider following the Playing in the Detroit Area Tonight Facebook page. It is a place for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show and leaving a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jams.